This is a world exclusive. We have a brand new string.
ReString Sync, all in sync. That was excellent. We are here today with ReString's latest innovation, Sync.
It is their new control string.
Or so they say.
Yes, it's designed to deliver excellent control, outstanding feel, and longer lasting playability.
Which was one of the best things about Zero.
Yes.
Is that there are several of the strings that play as well when fresh, but it lasted that bit longer, and that's partly the kind of conservation elements that ReString as a company are trying to promote.
Yes.
That their strings last longer, you've got to therefore replace them less often.
And it's also the slick strings giving that snap back, so that they're able to slide around all nice and slippery in order to keep from rubbing too much.
So the whole point of Sync is it's designed to essentially do the opposite of Zero, right? So Zero is lively and spinny, and Sync is designed for a bit more control, a bit more feel.
Some would say pinpoint control and precise precision.
That's very good.
So the one interesting thing to note before we start, 1.2 is a very thin gauge, right?
Yes.
Like, I've never played with a string of 1.2 gauge before.
You haven't lived.
No, well, I can't wait to try it. So even 1.25 is on the smaller side, thinner side, I should say.
Yeah, obviously in Zero there was 1.23 and 1.28, and we did prefer the 1.23.
Yes.
So whether we'll prefer the 1.25 because it's closer, or we'll prefer the 1.2 because it's thinner, all shall be revealed.
Yes. I also think that it's worth noting that they claim to have elite pocketing. And pocketing is another name for
dwell time.
Dwell time.
We love some dwell time, don't we? Yeah.
So let's get on court and see if it pockets. Let's see if it dwells. Let's see how it plays.
We have been playtesting ReString Sync over the last week. We used it, didn't we, to start with a few days ago. Obviously we used it again this morning. So we've put it through its paces multiple times to give us the best understanding of what this new string can do. What do you think?
I love it.
Should we want to rephrase the adjective?
I really love it.
So Joe is a fan. As always, we have completed the most scientifically thorough review we could do.
We're nothing if not thorough.
That is true. So I have put ReString Sync in two peer drives, one 1.2 and one 1.25 to get a fair comparison between the gauges.
And I have got Sync in my E-Zone 98 Tour, and I've got Zero to compare the two, both at their thinner gauges. So 120 on that and 123 on the Zero.
And to complete our trifecta of thoroughness,
we have Sync in one of my Speed MPs and a blend of Sync and Zero.
And doesn't it look good?
Doesn't it look good?
Wow.
So that is Zero in the mains.
Yeah, Zero in the mains and Sync in the crosses.
And I think Sync is going to become the cross string of choice.
For
the world.
Wow.
Okay.
Now I think a lot of people who like other strings are going to use that to just slightly temper some more powerful strings out there.
Sync is very different, but I loved it because I felt like I couldn't miss, and sometimes I miss a lot.
Yeah, that's really beneficial for you.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting though, because you found not missing was a negative for some reason.
It's a bit boring.
Is that what you thought?
I couldn't blast it out the back of the court anymore. It just always went in.
Yeah.
And I really was trying really trying to hit it out. I couldn't.
So if you're looking for a string that keeps the ball in the court, I don't know who that might be, except for everyone in the world.
Apart from John, yeah, that tracks.
Then maybe it's one. Tell me more about what you thought. You had the two different gauges in your racket.
My kind of big picture is, it's really refreshing to have a brand that just has two strings, two pillars, being such obviously different products, giving a different playability and different benefits.
Would you say significantly different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say significantly different.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, when I changed back to Zero, I couldn't keep the ball in the court, and I love Zero. It's a fantastic string, loads of spin, loads more spin, loads more power than Sync. but Sync is ultimate control. And so I often use words that people, I imagine people are like, what on earth does it mean? I describe the blade as being the old blade as being more textured than the new one, for example. But where Zero is lively, this is silky.
Yeah.
This is silky. You do get loads of pocketing. You do get loads of dwell time. The ball does feel like it sits on something, but it does feel like it just slips away off.
It's a bit It's muted.
I don't know if it's. I wouldn't call it muted. I think you're getting loads of information from it, but it's just silky information rather than lively information.
Make of that what you will.
I think both the strings are nice in very different ways. They're both quality products. Putting the two together seem to really bring the best out of both. Often we find the problem with traditional hybrids is that there's potential benefits to having the poly and the multi together, but there's also an inherent cost of having them together. So the added feel means you might lose durability, and the added durability means you might lose feel. What we think with a blend, which is what we call it when you have two poly strings together, is that you're going to lose way less and get the maximum out of both. And that's definitely what happened with this.
I'm really excited to do that in my racket, to be honest. Really excited.
It's like the snappiness of the Zero and the comfort of the Sync combined to just create...
So now what's going to happen, when I go to the blend, is I'm never going to miss, and I'm also going to have loads of spin and power.
Or you'll miss all the time and have no spin or power.
Yeah, but I reckon it's going to be the...
But you can have a great time doing it, because it feels amazing.
So between the two gauges...
Yes.
So I preferred the 125, which surprised me. Generally, the thinner strings, playability is a bit better, but I did prefer the 1.25. I found the 1.2, I don't know, almost didn't give me enough of anything.
Yeah, it kind of almost felt like lightweight, didn't it?
Yeah,
like it wasn't enough string behind the ball almost.
Yeah, and I felt like I'd break it really fast.
As expected. Well, yeah, I mean, if we were testing for a month, I think it would be likely that you break a 1.2.
So I think this might come down to, as we've spoken about before, conditions that you play in and level of your play. If you hit the ball big, you might love the string because it might rein you in a bit and never miss again, but I would go with the 1.25. Whereas if you're more of a precision control player generally and looking for a string that complements your game, again it would work, but maybe the 1.2 would give you a little bit more out of it as well.
So we're talking about a certain level of expense to never miss again. Now I would potentially probably give away a finger on my left hand to never miss again.
Would you actually?
To never miss again.
Well, but because that basically makes you a professional tennis player. So then you could earn. So then, how much money is your little finger on your left hand worth? Is really
could I play it on the backhand without a thumb? Difficult.
Thumb.
No, you need your thumb.
You can't get rid of.
I'm just trying to think what digit I could get rid of.
You couldn't edit these videos though. So
Yeah,
that'd be a problem.
Use the thumb.
I'd go ruby ring.
What? You'd miss out a finger in the middle of your hand?
Yeah.
I think ruby ring because you can still
claw it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't chop it off the end.
Still claw it.
So that's what people are talking about. That is the level they would go to use Sync. And we're only selling it for £12.
No,
to bring it back a little bit more on track, speaking of like styles and play, also the racket seems to be important.
Yes.
So in my head speed MP, I wouldn't say I disliked the Sync, but it felt what you were saying about having to work really hard and not giving much. I really felt that. Like I was having to work so hard with Sync, especially in comparison to Zero. But this is what we're saying, like they have made two very different strings, which we're saying is a positive, is a good thing. And the other part of it is that if you have used Zero, Sync is different enough that you're going to experience like entirely new like sensation of playing. So depending on your racket, depending on your play style, the gauges, Zero versus Sync, you have got plenty of scope to experiment and try it all out.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that you just said that we hadn't actually said was it is hard to use.
In what way?
It's like you need high amounts of effort.
Not in a power frame. You don't. Maybe in a control frame.
I found in the pure, which may be why. I mean, like you had to absolutely go for it to generate some power out of it.
I didn't find that at all. We haven't actually play tested it much together. We've taken the rackets away and played separately, so I didn't find that. I found that I could play absolutely normally, but everything was landing in the
But
court.
all your stuff goes in the service box anyway.
No, but it was going beyond the service box.
Well, that's impossible.
It was going into that beautiful space that doesn't have a name on
Were
the
you
tennis
playing
court.
in high altitude or?
No, it was terrific. So, in terms of power and spin, it is not the same as Zero.
No.
You definitely lose power, you definitely lose spin in comparison to the powerful spinny string. But you get back loads and loads of control, you get loads and loads of touch and feel, that pocketing, that dwell time is definitely there. So it's terrific, and they are two terrific strings. You just got to know which one you like.
Yeah.
But I think there's also this element of it requires, to generate some power and spin out of sync, it requires effort. If you're able to put that effort in because you're big and strong or you're very good, then sync is really going to be great for you.
Yeah.
Because it's going to, we were joking at the start about never missing again, but it does feel like that, that you really have ultimate control. And I should put it in my pure drives, which are big, stiff power frames. It must be almost impossible to miss in something like a Percept or a Pro Staff.
Or an MP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only real downside from my perspective is that I think the colour's a little bit boring. We'll call it silver. It is slightly boring. That may be because we've been spoilt by lots of very bright strings recently. But having said that, it's probably going to go. It's going to look good in almost every frame,
Well,
right?
it's not going to look bad with anything.
Well,
Yes.
you can judge for yourselves if we hold up our. Hey, look good. Yeah, all three.
And I guess also, as I was saying, I think it's going to become the cross string of choice
De jour.
for the masses.
Well-
and this obviously won't not go with almost any other string.
Yeah.
So essentially, are we saying, in conclusion, if you want power and spin and fun and excitement, you go Zero. If you want control and feel and pocketing and dwell time, you go Sync. And if you're not sure, try a blend. All it means is you have to buy 2 sets of string rather than 1, which we've got no problem with.
In terms of YouTube subscribers, we are now bigger than Court 18 and Court 3 at Wimbledon, but not quite as big as Court 2. So if you're not subscribed already, get subscribed, and then we'll be filling Court 2 at Wimbledon, which will be quite an achievement.
And when we fill centre court, we're going to run a competition and give free centre court tickets away.
Absolutely. Thank you as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not. Like, share, and never miss a thing from us three.
What you want, do you want a string to give you what you don't have, or do you want a string to enhance what you do?
Do.
Friends made that joke like 20 years ago.